Hey boss, I'm kinda bored. Feel like watching some television? Maybe we'll find something that you can do a video on.
Josh Fierstein here. Chances are, with over 65 million views, you've probably already seen me disprove and discredit evolution in 3 minutes.
Hey, isn't that Führerstein guy? You kicked his ass already.
Oh, no. I don't want to do Führerstein again. This guy is just far too frustrating to work with.
What's up, Josh Fierstein here. Look, I do a lot of videos challenging men to change, challenging them to step up.
Oh, not this loser again.
Huh, that's funny. But maybe there's something wrong with the DVR.
Josh Fierstein here. You know, a lot of people have asked me, how is it that you can believe in a God that you've never seen? Josh Fierstein here with a thought-provoking question for you.
It's a sign. It's like the universe wants you to do him again.
I don't understand. What's going on? It's like I can't escape him.
Josh Fierstein here. Josh Fierstein here.
Josh Fierstein here. Chances are, with over 65 million views, you've probably already seen me disprove and discredit evolution in 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. And then I kicked its ass. And everybody remembers where they were when they saw that video. I know where I was, in my underwear in front of my computer.
Well, now they've challenged me to prove the existence of God philosophically and scientifically in the same amount of time. So here we go. Dear Mr. Atheist, allow me to get scientific on you for just one moment.
I'm skeptical, but okay. Go ahead.
You see, the very first law of thermodynamics says that energy cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed, which makes it eternal, which makes it everlasting. Now, we know that the universe that we live in is finite. It has a beginning point and will one day have an end point.
Yes, the universe as we know it had a beginning point, but that doesn't mean that the energy didn't exist before that beginning point. What that beginning point is the Big Bang. But before the Big Bang, all of the energy that makes up the universe today still existed, except it was all in a singularity, in a speck the size of a grain of salt, or even smaller. So the universe began when that speck of energy expanded out exponentially into what we now know as the universe. And the Big Bang is still happening, but that doesn't mean that there was nothing before that point. And as for the universe having an ending point, not really. I mean, there will be a point where there'll be nothing but energy left, and that energy will be spread across the universe in perfect entropy. But as far as we know, the universe will continue on for an infinite period of time after that point.
And so it is that at the very beginning point of the universe, something had to give it its energy. Something had to transfer energy into it, therefore that it would spring to life.
Although I agree that it's likely that all the energy that makes up the universe had to have an origin that we couldn't possibly understand, you're not exactly coming at this argument from a standpoint that actually makes any sense. Yes, this energy had to come from somewhere, but we don't know that it's something that did it. It could have come from nothing, and since we really don't have a strong understanding of what nothing is, we can't even begin to understand where the origin of the universe's energy came from.
And yet it is that you don't believe in a God?
Correct. What makes you think that a God is necessary in this? If anything, a God compounds this problem, because what's the origin of this God? Where did the energy that makes up this God come from?
And yet there was some sort of energy source, a power source that was able to transfer energy into trillions of stars and into billions of galaxies.
Wait, what? What are you saying? Some sort of energy source transferred energy into stars? No, that's not exactly how it happened. The energy that makes up the universe through the powers of electromagnetism, gravity, and other kinds of processes that attract atoms and energy to each other formed into spheres. Those spheres ignited, and then they exploded, and then created galaxies. You're trying to imply that there's some sort of external force that created these processes, but we see no evidence for that. Considering we're still seeing the formation of stars and galaxies today, we have no reason to believe that that's happening from an outside source. It looks like it's happening on its own.
Think about how magnanimous and ginormous this entity had to be, and you don't believe that there's a God?
Okay, I'll take a second to imagine how magnanimous and enormous an entity would have to be in order to do this on his or her own, but again, What makes you think that that is necessary in the process? If anything, you're really just advertising that you have no idea how these processes work. And instead of learning how these processes work, you've decided to choose willful ignorance in place of knowledge.
And yet you can maybe say, well, maybe it was just a cosmic bang. Maybe it was just some sort of cosmic accident. And yet when I look at science, well, science wouldn't exist if it were a cosmic accident, because science has to operate upon laws and principles, things that do not change. And yet you cannot get something like a law unless there is order.
Sure, I mean, that's fair. Science is the study of the laws that the universe abides by and how those laws apply to the processes that we witness. But the cosmic bang is what created these laws. It's what dictates these processes. All of the powers of gravity and electromagnetism and all sorts of different powers in the universe were all dictated in the formation of said universe. And if a multiverse existed and other universes formed in similar ways through big bangs, there's no reason to assume that all the other universes would have the same set of laws, because they would have all formed slightly differently. There would have been different reactions of matter and antimatter. In fact, there might even be antimatter heavy universes. Their laws would be completely different from ours. Plus, space itself is a thing. You know, it's not just a vacuum, it's like fluidic, and space itself could form differently in other universes. There's no reason to believe that if the universe formed slightly differently, that space as we know it would be exactly the same. Everything that we know could be completely different. And you know, a fun little thought experiment here, if there was a little bit more hydrogen or a little bit less hydrogen in the original formation of the universe, believe it or not, the Earth itself would not even exist through the processes of causation. There might be a completely different universe altogether. It might have the same laws, but who knows? We'd have to do it to see for ourselves. And here's the thing, the universe doesn't have an outside. There is only what is inside the universe. So before the Big Bang, when everything was cramped into that little speck, there was no outside of that speck. There was only inside of that speck. I know it's really hard to wrap your mind around that idea, especially considering all of the artist renditions of the Big Bang show it from an outside perspective, but that would have been impossible, because there was no outside in which to perspect. Space, time, everything was inside of that speck, and did not begin to exist until that speck expanded through the Big Bang.
So there has to be an order and not chaos, but you cannot get order unless order was created from the very beginning, unless it was something that had order, that was able to speak into the very atmosphere and existence of the universe that we live in.
Yes, order formed in the very beginning, but it was not created by a mind or a being. We have no reason to believe that.
Well, if you cannot, after hearing that, believe that there is a God, then you are illogical, because you cannot look at it from a logical standpoint and say that this was all some accidents. So I challenge you today, to not only believe in a God, but to experience the one that I'm talking about, and that is a relationship with Jesus Christ.
I tried starting a relationship with Jesus. He took me out for a steak dinner, then afterwards he said he thought of me as more of a friend, and then he never called me again.
This is the University of Common Sense with your host, this guy right here, Professor Josh Fierstein.
I'm noticing a theme of you overhyping your credentials.
And I'm going to go ahead and break down today's lesson, atheism and other things that just don't make sense. Here we go.
I don't know how failing to believe something that has no evidence is nonsensical, but all right.
You know, I'm sitting here in my 2001 Toyota minivan when all of a sudden I start looking around, wondering where it came from. I mean, maybe this was the result of some cosmic accident, like atheism believes that I was. That maybe this Toyota minivan has somehow evolved over millions and millions of years.
All right, we've got another misleading conflation argument here. Atheism has no tenets. Atheism does not believe in evolution. Atheism does not believe the universe was created by accidents. Atheism is just a failure to believe in a God of any kind. Granted, many if not most atheists believe in the tenets of biological evolution, so I'll let that slide for now, but I'm not going to let that stand in the future.
And so I start looking and studying, and I realize that, well, this steering wheel is perfectly placed in front of the driver, and now I have all of my knobs for washing the windshield, and here is the ability to shift the transmission, and then look, I mean, I've got ability to shift gears, turn the car on, I've got AC radio, vents, clock, everything is perfectly placed, and then I started thinking, Maybe it was designed that way.
Oh, Josh, you stupid, stupid fool. Of course it was designed. How about we have a conversation about the horse? That used to be the old form of transportation. I'd like to see you make a decent argument for how the horse was designed. Of course cars were designed. We know people design them. I know of people that design cars. We know there are no natural processes in which cars can be formed. Cars are not natural. Can we have a conversation about natural things? This is not a fair comparison at all.
Then I started thinking about me.
Yeah, I guess things weren't about you for a minute.
I mean, think about it. If you look at the eyes perfectly placed on the face, right on each side of the nose, the mouth right here, the ears here, ready to hear. I mean, if you start thinking about the human body, even human sexuality, the way that everything fits together, wouldn't you think that it was designed intelligently?
No, what makes you think any of that is perfect? First of all, your eyes are not perfectly placed on your face. I can think of a million reasons to have eyes on the side of my head instead of the front. Why is it significant that they're on both sides of the nose? Why isn't my nose on my chest, where it's closer to things that I can smell? What do you mean the ears are on the sides ready to hear? Wouldn't you rather have one ear on the front of your head and one in the back so you can hear things in 360? And if the human body is designed, it is designed very poorly, especially with human sexuality. Why would God put a playground next to a sewage waste dump? That doesn't make any sense. It causes a lot of problems, a lot of diseases, a lot of issues. And what about my food pipe and my air pipe are the same goddamn pipe? That causes a lot of problems. I choke at least twice a year. Not seriously, but people choke to death because they're trying to breathe and eat at the same time. Why would a god design things that way? A god wouldn't. This is why we know that the human body is not designed. It is filled with ridiculous flaws. Why is my right leg slightly shorter than my left? There's no reason for that. There's no benefit to that. That's not a perfect design. Look at you. You're morbidly obese. And this isn't an insult. This is just a fact. This is not good for you. Why would a god design your body so that if you ate too much food, you would start to die by your own body weight? You're clearly unhealthy.
I mean, it's kind of funny that we have scientists that are looking for intelligent life on other planets but don't even believe in an intelligent creator.
Okay, that doesn't even begin to make sense. 90% of science is observation. And in observation, we do not observe a god existing among us or above us in any way. A god has not presented itself to science. And yet, intelligent life has. You not so much, but I'm a pretty good example of intelligent life. And since it's reasonable to assume that because we evolved, it's likely that life has evolved elsewhere in the universe as well.
And the problem is, if you don't believe in an intelligent creator, how can you claim to be intelligent?
I'm sorry, what's that?
And the problem is, if you don't believe in an intelligent creator, how can you claim to be intelligent?
What does that even mean? Can you give me a case for why intelligence cannot exist without a creator? So far, you've failed to make a decent argument for why a creator is necessary for the universe, let alone for intelligence.
If you're just a mere accident, if you're just some mere mutation, how can you even claim that you have intelligence?
Like this, watch. I have intelligence. Wow, that was pretty easy. I mean, I have a brain, and my brain clearly works in a way that displays intelligence. I was gonna get into it more, but really, that's all I need to say. You know, I'm trying really hard to get in your head and understand what angle you're approaching this from, but I'm having a lot of trouble sympathizing with you because I don't understand your logic. I don't understand your reasoning here. See, what I like to do is explain how I came to believe what I believe. I like to do a breakdown, piece by piece, of how I came to my conclusions. You're just presenting premises like intelligence can't exist without God and you're dumb for believing otherwise, and then you just roll with that without explaining how that makes any sense at all. Well, I'm sorry, Josh. Arguments and debates do not work that way. You have to explain how you came to your conclusion. You can't just introduce a premise and not back it up. Why is intelligence impossible without an intelligent creator?
So how is it that I can even listen to any of your theories or hypotheses or any of that junk if you aren't even smart enough Wait a minute.
If I'm not even smart enough to I have a really strong feeling here that either you're crazy or whatever line of reasoning you're using is so alien to me that I couldn't possibly imagine it on my own. Seriously, Josh, what the fuck are you talking about?
And to claim that you weren't intelligently designed only means you're stupid. By your own definition.
What do you mean? What is my definition? That's another thing that you don't present here. You're trying to use my reasoning against me, but you're not even telling me what my reasoning is. My definition of intelligence is something that can think and react on its own, independent of outside influence. You will notice that my definition of intelligence actually excludes a creator, because a creator would make it not intelligent. It would make it an artificial intelligence. If my intelligence was created by something other than my own natural processes that go on inside of my brain, that would make me a biological computer, not an intelligent being.
Hey boss, just do one more.
I don't really feel like...
Just do one more.
No, seriously, I don't have...
Just one more, please.
Fine, fuck. Okay, one more.
Josh Fierstein here. Look, do me a favor. Stop listening to Christians.
Okay. I hope you all enjoyed my video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, and if you absolutely love me, you can support me on Patreon. Anybody who supports me with $20 or more per video gets a free t-shirt from Reasonist Products. And as always, stay skeptical. Thanks for watching.